because people are wary about accepting any narrative that might be biased one way or the other. But the narratives of medical workers, people who are working on the front line in terms of helping people who are suffering,
Hmm.
their narratives about just how terrible the suffering is, about the lack of medicines, the lack of facilities. I think more than anything else that's turned the opinion of so many people in the world has been the attack on hospitals. This is against all the
Mm.
laws of war. It's against all of the basic laws of decency, that the most helpless, and literally helpless because many of these people can't move, that to attack them or to threaten them, that has gained a very great deal of reaction in the West. And the whole question of proportionality focuses on why should you attack the most helpless, even if you are going to have, as it were, a reprisal, a gigantic reprisal, a gigantic revenge attack, even though it's completely disproportionate. There are some people who should simply be left out of this equation. So, to a certain extent, what you have is not only social media telling necessary alternative narratives, you have also the Israelis themselves overplaying their hand. And this overplaying of their hand has been a very, very great resource in putting forward an open space in which the Palestinian narrative can finally begin to be heard.
Mm. It's very true. And it's important to highlight the attacks on the hospitals because this really government has mainly been saying they are attacking these targets due to the presence of Hamas. And I kind of wanted to delve more into the topic of Hamas as a terrorist group. So the Western the Western side has labeled Hamas as a terrorist party, terrorist group, and I kind of wanted to question the legitimacy of that. In a sense, are they actually a terrorist group or are they a resistance force? Should we change the label that is being used against them, or is it the correct term?
Even a resistance group has got to be consonant of the laws of war and the limits, so that you have justice leading up to war. This is a very, very long known distinction. You've got just cause. I don't think too many people would try to argue down the just cause of the Palestinians. And then you have just conduct, how you conduct your opposition to oppression. And if you yourself are basically not obeying limits, if you're attacking innocent people, is that attacking of innocence that basically allowed the Israelis to build the October 7 narrative? So there's a difference between just cause and just conduct in war. Now,
Hmm.
how you get resistance and rebellion into a just framework is much easier said than done. And this thing was always a powder keg waiting to explode. And of course, explode it
Yeah.
did. And it has to be said there is fault on both sides. Now, having said that, it's absolutely the case that long years of oppression, occupation, basically holding Gaza prisoner, a whole small city state prisoner, blockaded, all of that has been very, very much part of the just cause for why you want to rebel, why you want to resist. It's that background story which has not been played out very, very well in Western media. And as I said, part of that is because the narrative has not been well presented, either by Hamas or by Fatah, or indeed by many of the sympathizers of the Palestinian cause around the world. This is where the left in general has got to basically learn some lessons. You can't actually educate people by sound bites. And you have got to go beyond sound bites into narrative. And the narrative has got to be pitched in such a way that is simultaneously complex and detailed, but presented simply. Now, again, this is easy to say, but it's a big, big conundrum. How do you make something that is complex, which has a long history, which goes against received
Yeah.
wisdom? How do you present this in a compelling way that is able to be understood? And this is where basically Hamas, Fatah, have got to get expert people. Now, I put a lot of blame on Fatah in the first instance. because they're meant to represent all of the Palestinian people, whether they like Hamas or not. They're meant to be the representative. I have to say, it's very, very hard to come across a lazier, more inept government in any part of the world.